something so powerful. It reveals such a great truth. Haley just shared with me a story of how she gave a woman who was struggling with homelessness a hot drink, gave some change, and went and bought her a hot chocolate. And that activated memories within me where I saw my past selves or parts of me, or past versions of me, or however we want to phrase that, extend that kind of love to people battling homelessness. One time we even went and bought 2 big bags of groceries for someone standing on a street corner. And we ended up staying for like 20 plus minutes and chatting and hearing about his story. And it was like really, really humbling because it was really just a series of unfortunate events. There were no drugs, there was no laziness, there's none of the stereotype judgments that people often associate with battles of homelessness. It was like they got robbed and these things got stolen, and then insurance wasn't there, and they were struggling with this other thing, and they just couldn't keep up on their rent, and here they are. And it was just a series of unfortunate events where they didn't have anyone or anything to fall back on. And it was just so humbling to know that these situations that, you know, there were so many judgments around growing up. And that was just like the wiring and the programming I received, as we so often do, was to judge and criticize and condemn and be skeptical and be, you know, whatnot of people with these battles that we don't personally relate to. But we're really all in this human thing together, and no one is above anybody. And the profound truth is that I did that several times where we went out of our way to extend love and generosity to someone battling homelessness. And then a few years later, we were in that situation. We were the ones battling homelessness. We were the ones just like, you know, do I need to go stand on a corner so that I can have a few bucks for some food? And in that time, we were extended such love. The universe had our back, and people would send us money and reach out in love and encouragement. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here now. I would still be in that hopeless situation of not having anywhere to go, not being able to feed myself or care for myself or clothe myself, not being able to thrive. I may not even be alive if I had stayed in that sort of position. And it's just humbling on the deepest level. There's like so many lessons that come with this. You know, what the energy we invest is the energy that's reciprocated. Everything is energy. And so when we give something, we receive a return on that investment. It's not immediate, and it's not direct, and it's not obvious. But there's these miraculous energetic laws of the universe that are impacting aspects of unfolding life experience. And when we give, that energy is there in the universe, and it somehow comes back into our universe. I was blessed enough to see the return on those investments, you know, within like a 10-year period. So there's that ability to reflect. It's not always that obvious. It's not always immediate, et cetera, et cetera. But the energy we invest in this life is the energy that is reciprocated through our unfolding life experience. Those are the laws of the universe that I've been learning about these past couple years. And so there's that. And then there's that deeper truth of we're all in this human thing together. Nobody is above anybody else. The situations we encounter have nothing to do with our identity or our worth. Ever. They're just aspects of experience. And we're allowed to release all judgment. We're allowed to release all unconscious conclusions that the brain likes to come to. And just extend compassionate love without conditions, without needing to understand, without needing an explanation. It's that thread of love that connects us all. So no matter what we're going through, we can know that we're all in this human thing together. And our experience does not define our identity or our worth. We are miraculous beings of love, light, and miracles within our identity, and our worth is infinite. Our worth is substantial regardless of what we go through. And the other beautiful truth for me personally is that where we are does not need to dictate where we are going. It was really difficult to see that at the time, but in those battles of homelessness and disability and just crippling darkness, because my entire reality was dictated by unconscious traumatic stress from 2 decades of stuff. And my whole reality felt like psychosis, even though that wasn't it. And so there was just this black pit of darkness, and it was hard as hell to disidentify with it, but that's what we did that got us here. We saw that the experience did not define us. It didn't need to. We saw that we didn't need to stay where we were, even though it was all consuming. And we chose to invest energetically in that belief that we are more, and we could do more, and we could be more, and we could feel more, and we could strive for more, even though there was nothing. There was just a black pit of nothingness. And after over 100 doctors tell you, there's nothing I can do for you, sorry. And after you've been battling with homelessness and disability for 4 years, with it continually increasing in intensity and horrors, rather than there being these, aspects of relief or hope, it would have been really easy for that past version of me to just say, this is all I am, and this is all I'll ever be. But somehow, some way, she said, nuh-uh. And it's because of that decision to disidentify with the darkness and refuse to stay where we were that we're here now today doing the work we're doing, healing in the depth that we're healing. And so where we are does not need to dictate where we're going. Our experience and our identity are not synonymous. And even when things are out of control, we have power. Power and control are also not synonymous. Control is this fear-based external manipulation of things. Power is an internal, love-based, substantial rooting in our energetic influence over our lives from the inside out of our consciousness. So even when things are completely beyond our control, and everything feels completely frickin' impossible, and the darkness is all we see, and the hopelessness is all there is, and unpleasant experiences is all we seem to encounter, we are more. We still have power within that, even though everything is beyond our control. And that power gives us that hope eventually. It might not come right away. Sure didn't for us. But we have power even when we have no control. And there's power within knowing we have power. And so thank you, Haley, for sharing that and really activating these memories where we stopped our day and we extended time and money towards complete strangers because we recognized they're people just like us. They're worthy just like us. And we're all in this human thing together. One of my protector parts states wrote a quote a few years ago that we've really enjoyed. It kind of brought us connection when we were very disconnected. It says, we're all alone, but at least we're all alone together. Our experience comes from the inside out of our consciousness, and no one else lives in our consciousness. No one else is, there aren't other people in here. Well, for me, there are. Those are still my inner persons of consciousness. I mean, external people. There aren't people living in our consciousness. And in that sense, we are alone in our consciousness from one perspective. Our experience is something that we physically go through alone. This body is the only person I'm guaranteed to spend the rest of my life with, is what I mean. But even though I might physically be alone right now, I'm not alone because we're energetically connected throughout the universe. We are all in this human thing together. And so even though I may not know the human beings watching my videos, I'm connected with you. I am energetically connected through this sense of unconditional love because we are love, light, and miracles at the core of our inner being, and we are energetically connected because we're all experiencing this very strange, miraculous human stuff together, alongside one another, energetically. Physically, we're not hanging out all the time, right? But energetically, we're all in this together. So no matter how alone you feel, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's allowed to be hope in the darkness. There is allowed to be light in the chaos. There is allowed to be peace through the uncertainty of it all. And maybe we're all alone from one perspective, but at least we're all alone together.